we come short, I have no problem throwing a little bit of money in our budget to help finish this, if need be. That's why I'm asking for everybody to see what they can do for us.
So the 300,000 from Dow, I know you said we probably won't get that much, but.
If we get 100,
Say we,
I'm looking at 120, 130. If we get that and you come up 80, thank you so much. It's done. That's the money.
but I guess what, cause you said we're getting 150 from the county?
No, 110.
110.
We got 110.
Gotcha.
110,
And then 80, if we do 80,
that's put us at 190. And then we got the wind grant, which takes us up to 217. And then we got a consumer's grant that takes us up to about 237.
and we need, how much do we need? You said
Community
273,
Foundation.
right?
Last one was 470, I think, isn't what you said?
473 is where the start was, we moved $201,000.
Right, so 273.
So
is
it
what
puts
we
us
need.
at about 273.
Without DNR.
And we got 237. So I guess my point is, say the Dow chipped in 100, 150, would that reduce our 80 that we need to chip in, or
What?
no?
We don't know until October 1st. We do not know how much. They're saying we're not gonna get it all.
But I mean, if we were to commit to the 80 right now, and they were to come up with, come in with more than maybe what we expected, would that reduce our amount, maybe down to 50 or something?
Well, the increase of labor costs might have gone up since last year.
Okay.
So, and whatever's left over will go for the other phases you can pitch in. So it's not gonna go nowhere, it's just gonna go back in the project.
Melissa, how much ARPA money do we have?
We got 487,000. Frazier got 317,000.
What's it gonna cost to renovate the hall up to something that is not a liability but an asset?
Well, it depends on where you go, right? It depends on if you have a contractor come in and you decide you're just gonna blast out the whole thing. Is that something we need to do? There's some
Something that
other
makes money.
grants, yeah. Well, no, I would agree.
The moral of the story is, we need to get 3 bids on everything so that we know we're not throwing our money after a dead cow. And that's not necessarily some of what's happened, but that's what has to happen in order to make that project work. Because if we turn around and we go in there and we get somebody, get 3 bids on the painting and get 3 bids on fixing the drywall on the inside, get the LED lighting put in and get the floor put in, and get rid of the 4 dinosaurs in the ceiling, and replace the wall units. The bathrooms will get some work done, but the catch with the bathrooms is if we get this accomplished, we can put in for Red Cross grants to retrofit those bathrooms so that those bathrooms would be approved as an emergency shelter. But once again, they gotta see we're gonna do something, and then you can apply for the grant to get the money. And then you take one of the exits, you expand the exit out a little bit further, and you then have nice handicap bathrooms, but you still keep the old bathroom, you don't get rid of them. That's one thing you will never have enough in when it comes to a building. You take the current bathrooms and you do away with at least 1 toilet in each of them, so that you have a larger stall in each of the bathrooms, but it doesn't mean you have to spend $2 million right now, or $460,000 right now. You can make that building look really good. I've done churches being redone and using the bid process. It's amazing just how far you can go.
So did you make this into I know you proposed it, was that a motion or is it not a motion?
I will make it a motion that we use $80,000 of ARPA money specific to the Scenic Point project. Yeah, it's for the Scenic Point project.
Earmark money specifically is what you were motioning.
Earmark.
I'd like to see if Frazier could come up with something.
Well, the commissioner's talking to both townships, that we're the first of,
Our commissioner up north, Kathy, is speaking to him 29th.
Well, we're gonna have another meeting in 2 weeks. Can we let you know in 2 weeks?
It's a Fraser, you mean?
Yeah, but I don't know if we're gonna talk about that tonight. She's there for other reasons.
Well, that's my motion, you know, I guess it's,
Well, it's a 50-50 deal, is, I can see the concern with the Fraser Township issue. If it's a 50-50 deal, where are they coming with their 80,000?
Or even 40?
Yeah.
No,
they
40,
need 80.
whatever, I
We're
mean,
gonna
it's,
share.
they're not putting anything
Well,
into this 50-50
I can
deal.
tell you where the 50-50 was. We put up the Veterans Memorial in the park.
Mhm.
Huckabee didn't pay 50%, and neither did Fraser. I raised the money,
Okay,
and we did it. So I didn't send Huckabee a bill, and I didn't send Fraser a bill. We did it because it was for the greater
but
good of the community.
I understand that.
We did it.
but
You wrote a check
this
for
is a
that yourself?
50-50 deal, and
That's insane.
I personally went out and raised the
Well,
resources.
no, but what, was it your money or did you get donations for it?
Donations.
I raised. I said the word raised. That was in there. Nobody else did it. You go out, you know, and that's what Laura has done. She's went out trying to raise the funds. She is the one that has put together the list of who to seek the money from.
Our employees have gone over and beyond. She's been working 7, 8 o'clock at night on some of these projects. A lot of people don't appreciate that, I do. And we do what we can to help out all the townships, the best we can with grants. Because we are your bigger brother, so we look out for you, and we try to do what we can for everybody. And we go out and look for bids. If it wasn't for Laura going out for bids, this wouldn't have never got going. So,
If the ARPA money doesn't get used for this, what else would it be used for?
The hall.
It will not all be used on that hall.
Yeah. I just think.
It's not earmarked for the
I was
hall.
gonna say,
I think
some
the
money
people
is
would
already
benefit more
earmarked
from
for the
using it
chapel,
as
isn't
a-
it?
There was some put in the seed budget.
60,000
That
went
was
to the
CD
chapel.
money. That was CD money,
Yeah.
sorry.
ARPA money has to be earmarked before the December 24. The permit expires for the seawall 25, December.
So you got a year.
And all the money has to be spent by the 26th, December.
If you wanna wait,
26th.
nothing got cheaper in the last year. Nothing's gotten cheaper in the
That's
last
why
2 years.
we should replace our elevators 2 years ago when we had the money. It went up over 400,000. You have to buy new fire panels. So the chief knows that. It's very expensive. The more we wait,
And I understand what you're saying, with grants, and you know, they've got the grants, if you let it go, you might not get another chance at them. Which is
Approving
bugs
it
me
tough
that
contingent on
Fraser-
going to Fraser and getting them to pay something. Can you do that?
I went and sat with Fraser already in reference to this project, and I sat with them in reference to other projects, like reimbursement to our fire department.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean.
And they
I've
still-
seen you do that in the
And
past.
they
which is
still
great.
haven't budged. I've already been there. I was just there 2 weeks ago and spent the whole morning with Galis.
But I don't think they've even paid for that yet, have they?
No.
They're not even willing to pay for our fire department to go fight their fires.
I understand that.
I think that part's totally valid, but that shouldn't detract from whether or not the project's worth doing. We're holding money for a hall that I haven't heard anyone with a plan on how to make that profitable and make that a way for the community to make money based on the rentals that are there, and my group rents it 4 times a year, and it's chump change. And it's, to save all this, to make it look better and make ourselves feel better, when it's not really gonna add anything to bottom line or anything, and the other one, tourism and everything could. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a huge visibility issue down there, and the traffic on those roads is massive. People don't drive Parish Road. And if they do, a new coat of paint inside the township hall is not gonna make a difference to anyone that drives by it as to what our community looks like. But I think the Fraser issue is completely valid, but I don't think that should be a deal breaker either way. Just opinion.
Yeah, it hasn't been in the past, that's what it said, Charlie.
Yeah.
Normally you put a contingency on the proposal to go back after Fraser. You generally approve it, but you always put little contingencies, say, let's go beat on Fraser some more. And pay their fair share.
I have already went there once, but I wasn't going there with anything in hand. I wasn't going there saying, you know what, we're gonna put this much money in the game. What are you guys gonna do? Because at this point, we haven't had any money in the game.
Charlie, you're missing my point. I'm supporting what you're doing. What I'm trying to say is, in the past, you have put on those contingencies for your proposal. You said, I'm gonna approve this, but I want it written in there that someone's gonna go down there and beat on Frazier to get the fair share. And you're not doing that for this one. That's all I'm saying. I'm just wondering, can you do that? To put some contingency or some wording in the records to say, look, we're trying, we're putting our money out there. Let's force the board to go back to Frazier and keep pounding on until they put theirs up. It's just stuff that you've normally done.
Could you find out if they were willing to do 20, 25, something like that, before, if we can have another meeting on the 25th?
My question is where does this board set? That's my question. Where does this board set? If this board says, nope, we're not putting no money in, you know what? That's your prerogative.
Well,
I can't
as a
put my
resident,
finger.
as a resident, I don't have an issue spending, you guys spending the ARPA money and putting $80,000 into this. My issue is just what was said back here. Where's the responsibility for your partner? Okay, which would be Frazier Township. Okay, we would put 80,000 in. What are they doing? And why aren't they doing it? It's part of their responsibility right from the beginning. It's a partnership.
Thank you. It's the same thing with the fire department.
Exactly.
And how are we doing on that collection? We're not doing very well.
I know.
I can't make Peter pay Paul.
Well, I get it, but
So the
regardless
thing
of
is,
the fire department is a separate issue. This is the park issue. You guys already had the agreement for the partnership. If we're putting in 80 grand, where's the responsibility for Frazier? I don't want to see the project get killed.
I cannot make Frazier responsible for Frazier. That's like saying the house is on fire and Carl Collins' truck isn't gonna put it out.
Yes, but if you have a spoiled child and you keep rewarding that spoiled child by giving and giving and giving, why wouldn't they say no, no, no?
Well-
Because you cover their cost.
Here's the thing.
And I'm not opposed to your project either. so
That will
don't get that
benefit
wrong.
Carl Collins Township when it is accomplished. It will benefit the businesses that pay taxes in Carl Collins Township. It will benefit when the people drive down the road and they get to the end, whether they fish with their grandkids like I've seen lately, or whether they're trying to put their boat in at the end of the road, you know.
And not a single person out here, I think, has said that that's not the case.
But you can't make it contingent.
Well,
on them
I'll tell
doing
you
so.
what.
You can make
Why
it
not?
contingent, you
Why
can make it
not?
contingent on us going after it
No,
from them.
no,
I think that makes
What
sense.
I'm
but-
saying is what they've done in the past, they've put forth the money, they've
Sure.
approved the money, but they've always put a contingency that says Sam or somebody goes after Frazier to try to get them to.
But going after is different than getting, right? If you're saying go after,
sure.
that's easy to do.
For sure.
Getting shouldn't be a deal killer, because if you're gonna say
never
30,000 from them would keep you from taking $273,000 worth of other grants, that's just cutting off your nose to spite your face. That doesn't make any sense financially as a business. And to potentially anger 5 partners that stepped up and said, you have a worthwhile
But we've never
project.
done that, that's my point. All I'm saying is be consistent with the way you're operating.
Yeah.
Put the darn contingency on the proposals to say someone's gonna go after Frazier to try to get them to do it.
Would you like to go talk to Frazier?
Am I a member of the board?
You're a member of this township. We'll form
I'm
a
not a
committee
member
and
of
you
the
can
board.
go ask for the money.
So why is it that you do this on every other proposal, but you're not going to do it on this one?
Yeah, why is that?
Because they're not gonna do it.
He said he already did, and the
No,
county
he didn't.
commissioner said they did.
I went up there and I sat down with Galis. I talked to him about the scenic
Oh,
point.
okay.
That's how
Okay,
I know
missed
what
that.
money he's putting in and not putting in. And that's how I know that we didn't get our fire department money,
Got it.
because the definition of the word,
Did he put a dollar-
mutual aid.
Did he put a dollar value on the paperwork that he did, or no?
Oh, he said, we did all the paperwork. You know, if anybody's gotta go in, that's up to you guys.
Well, if that happens, then the next time they come hand in hand wanting something.
But-
They wouldn't.
But that's the same principle that applies to the 5 people that ponied up $273,000 to us. The next time we go up hat in hand to them and ask for money, right, they have every
And
right to
I
say
have
no
no
because we
problem.
didn't take it.
That's
So you gotta look at,
80,000.
it's a
I
tough
guess
one.
Fraser Township is another whole, that's another whole.
Yeah, that's a tough deal.
Yeah.
It's just been interesting,
That's a
and it
tough
always has been interesting. And I can't hold them accountable, no matter how hard you want to hold them accountable. I'm really sorry to tell you, you can't, okay? My buddy's redoing a house for $150,000 because their fire department took 25 minutes to get there. You can't hold them accountable. So the question is, do we want to go forward, or do we say, no, we don't want to go forward? I guess that's the question. So I made a motion. If nobody wants to follow it, then that's the prerogative of this board.
I'm not sure that I'm completely comfortable at 80,000.
Then what are you comfortable with? Because nobody's even offered a suggestion other than me.
Well, I'd like to see them even pony up for 20 or 25,000 and.
So are you saying you would make a motion for 60,000?
I would make a motion for 60,000 to earmark for Glenwood Scenic Point.
So I'll modify, which you have to put that in there because of Robert's Rule of Order, we modified the motion to be a motion for 60,000 toward the Scenic Point to come from ARPA funds.
And then hopefully the rest comes from that.
Yeah.
And does that mean that Lori seconded then?
I guess if you're modifying, I'll second. Well, you already had a motion on the floor, so you need to
I
modify.
had to modify the motion, you
I
can't
should have
legally do
worded it
it.
differently, but
So he modified, you said.
he modified it, I seconded it.
And how much do we have? 460?
We have 487, and we spent 10 or so on this side, so we probably have 470. So that's all we spent so far, we haven't spent anything else.
We have to get that going.
Are we ready for roll call?
Yeah,
Campbell?
so what is?
Yes.
Go back to what is the actual
The motion,
motion?
oh, the,
It's a
The motion.
modified motion for $60,000 to go toward the Glenwood Scenic Point
Earmark.
project. It's
From-
marked
from
from
the
ARPA funds.
Campbell,
Yes.
DeShano,
Yes.
Class,
Yes.
Cruz.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next thing is, because this was just a special meeting and not a total go over all of our things, we would like to set up the regular board meeting on September 25th at 7.
Who called this as a special meeting?
Well, we didn't have everything. I don't know how I want to say that.
From the original agenda, you mean?
What's that?
From the original agenda, you mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Sam had already started an agenda, but we didn't have any of the backup or anything to create a packet for that for tonight. So, but we knew we had to pay the bills, so, and I don't think we can have 2 regular meetings because that's not what the board approved at the beginning of the fiscal year. We only approved 1 regular meeting, so, we had to make, we figured we'd make this one a special meeting so we could approve the bills.
But who called the special meeting? Who called the special meeting? In order for a special meeting to be called, it either has to be called by the complete board in the board meeting, It has to be called by a supervisor, or it has to be called by a majority of board members in written documentation with 3 signatures on it. So who called this very meeting we're sitting at right now? Because I wasn't informed about it until I received a special meeting agenda. So we actually have to have documentation showing who
You were
called the
sent an
meeting.
email?
I'm sorry?
Were you sent an email?
I said that's when I
Okay.
was notified about it.
Okay.
So in order per the Michigan compiled laws, chapter 41, which governs general law townships, it has to be called in one of those 3 ways that I outlined. And if it is called by board members, it has to be 3, it has to be a written document, has to have 3 signatures, and it has to be submitted to the clerk. I never saw anything where that occurred, and I feel as though one of us would have been aware of that had that occurred, because one of our signatures would have been required.
I guess, did Sam call the meeting? That would be the question.
Well, if you can't do,
He suggested having a special meeting so that we could pay the bills, yes.
But did he call the meeting? That's not the same thing. A suggestion is not the same thing as calling it per the law. And actually, MTA's recommendation is that if the
So what do you
supervisor
wanna do,
calls
just
the
void
meeting-
this whole meeting like it didn't happen?
Well,
We can do
it's a
that.
discussion we need to have. Those are the rules per chapter 41 of general law townships. That's exactly what's in the red book from MTA, that's how it has to be called.
I think it's more a matter that you submitted a couple things and it didn't get put on this meeting, because
Well-
that's for the bigger picture, for the full meeting. This
I
was
did
just
submit
a
items
bit-
that I wanted on here, and then the response I got was a special meeting. I'm asking how it was called. That's a legitimate question, how it was called, because all I received was an agenda for a special meeting, rather than the very day before, when I was told to suggest items to have on the agenda by 4 PM, which I did, and the response I get is a completely different meeting, and no documentation that it was called. So, in addition to that,
During the regular meeting.
Lori, don't you think, under the circumstances, I mean, nobody knows exactly what is supposed to be done.
I
They're trying
understand, but
their
I
best.
understand the law. This is a general law township. We are governed by the laws of the state of
I
Michigan.
don't think anybody
and
was
that's
trying
what
to
has
break the
happen.
law. I think they were trying to do the best they can to make a situation possible under the circumstances. I mean, if Sam did not have a heart attack and could have been healthy and sitting in that chair,
Okay,
I'm
Sam
sure it would have
suggested it,
been.
I called it, we need to adjourn the regular meeting. If the 25th doesn't work, let's pick a different date.
I don't think there was malice.
I don't think that we have to adjourn the meeting because the bills are paid at this point and we can make up the rest. We're only required as a general law township to have one regular meeting at least once every 3 months. I don't see any reason why we can't just go to the next regular meeting, which would be October 9th. We've paid the bills, that's the most important thing. Next regular meeting, we can cover the rest of the information, got it? That would be my suggestion. I would make a motion to adjourn this meeting, and the next meeting would be a regular board meeting on October 9th, 2023 at 7 PM as scheduled by the resolution that was approved at the beginning of this year.
Did you make a motion to adjourn?
I made a motion to adjourn for this
Till
meeting
October.
until October 9th for the next regularly scheduled meeting. That would be the
So your
motion that
meeting
I
is
made.
done if she made a motion to adjourn?
It's gonna have to be the 10th of October because Columbus Day is the 9th.
Oh gosh, I do apologize, I forgot about that.
Thanksgiving.
Sounds
We
right.
don't live with
Thanksgiving.
I think it's supposed to be Indigenous Peoples' Day now, officially.
Yeah.
Is that what they say now?
Yeah.
That is a lot harder to say than Columbus
Politically
Day. I don't know if
correct.
it's gonna
So,
stay.
you made a motion to have the meeting on the 10th of
October 10th.
October at 7 PM with a bill pay meeting at 6 PM.
Bill review.
Bill review, thank you.
Any second on that?
I'll second it.
You want a roll call, or do you want all those in?
All in favor? Or do a roll call, either way.
However.
DeShano.